And together with us is Mr. Muhammad Bahgat. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome to Ummah Summit.
Welcome, Khalid. How are you?
Good, Alhamdulillah. And I know that you are live from Istanbul.
I'm everywhere.
You are
So,
everywhere.
yeah, I'm Egyptian representing a US company and presenting now from Istanbul, yes.
MashaAllah, Istanbul. How is Istanbul now?
Are we talking about the weather? I'm here for a few days. So the weather is a bit cold right now.
Cool. Okay. Let me introduce a bit our speaker today. Mr. Muhammad Bahgat is originally studied system engineering and graduates in 1998. He broadened his study by studying business management, starting in 2002, and afterward he finished 2 diplomas in education and psychology counseling. And Bahgat comes with 20 years of experience in informal education field. If you talk about education, this is his field and his area of expertise. And in 2011, Bahgat founded a SeGa Group, a US-based company in a talent development consultancy with its operational offices in the Middle East. And the what we call it, the mission of SeGa is to develop human developer. So it is very big dreams. And in 2014, he has been selected from ATD to facilitate their learning program, mainly in the corporate coaching certification, need analysis certificates and others. And SeGa Group works in 3 main sectors: corporate, community, and education. And its mission is to develop the human developer in 2 areas of expertise, which is active, deep learning, and performance coaching. And Mr. Bahgat is an ATD, which is Association of Talent Development, accredited facilitator for coaching certificates. And he is the only person in the Middle East to be certified by NASAGA, North America Simulation and Gaming Association in education game design. And also Bahgat is the only current certified facilitator in the Middle East from Tyypa Group USA, the leading approach of interactive training strategies and game-based learning. If I were to share more about Mr. Bahgat, there will be a lot, like how he found the first LXF, the first framework, 5 domain and also 15 principle in the first framework. And I think the best person to discuss further on the background and also the whole invention by SeGa Group, I think the best person is to say it is Mr. Bahgat. So I think I would like to welcome Mr. Bahgat and also to hand over this session to Mr. Bahgat. Tafadhal mashkura.
Okay, thanks a lot, Khalid, and welcome everybody from around the globe. And this is the 2nd day of the Ummah Summit. And actually, when I've been invited and selected by the organizers, the first thing that attracted myself was and still the name of the summit, Ummah. And when we say Ummah, 2 things, very important things pop up into our mind and should pop up in our mind, which is global representation and global impact. And now I'm not going to introduce myself because my brother Khalid introduced a lot. So I'll quickly skip what's there in the presentation about presenting myself. I'm mainly focused in the development of educators and trainers because our mission in SeGa is develop human developers. So quickly, we established SeGa in US to be a global entity working for Middle East, Asia, and Africa, especially with the mission of developing human developers, as my brother Khalid said. And our main values are having an impact and global impact specifically, synergy and connection and networking between entities and individuals across the globe, excellence, genuinity and being authentic, as well as accountability. So what I want to focus on while presenting SeGa is the three pillars that we established the entity around. The first is the scientific research, the second, the practicality, and the third is the global, what we are focusing on today. So when we established SeGa with the mission of developing human developers, and mainly for educators and trainers, we were focusing on the cascading impact and the global impact, how to sustain the impact and have a scalability of the impact and cascading impact layers. So that was a very important focus on scientific research. And finally, 3 years back, I think 3 or 4 years back, we introduced the first framework book. We published the book 3 years back, but the research started, I think, 7 years back or more. And now first framework is the first framework to introduce the learner experience, or what we call it, the active deep learner experience, and how to design and facilitate an active deep learner experience, how to design the experience for the learners to be as active as possible, yet as deep as possible and authentic as possible. This is not the time to introduce deeply the first framework, but quickly we'll move across the 5 domains of the framework. The 5 domains is mainly the foundation of the framework is the learner experience. Learning is not just an event. Learning is not just an instant. Learning is a full experience that the learner is living, and the entity and the individuals around are helping to design this experience for him or her, as well as to facilitate this experience to get the maximum effective, impactful learning possible across the journey and across the experience. And while thinking of this and researching about that, we found a lot of people introduce the concept in different ways, actually since 1930 plus, but we try to put it into what we call it a modern, authentic way. Modern, we want our educator to think with the modern paradigms, the modern mindset, the modern tools and techniques, as well as being as authentic as possible, value-based, competency-based, and so on. So we are not just focusing on transferring knowledge from teacher to student. We are focusing on living an experience, a full experience of the learner with the educator, and that we are focusing and introducing the 5 domains of the framework. The first is the focusing, the F of the first. So first, focusing is focusing on the learner and the learner needs and the learner expectations and the learner full whole human person. And this is very important when we are talking about the Islamic education. When we are talking about Islamic education, we are talking about the whole human person, or the whole human learner. From whole human means from the mental perspective, the physical perspective, the emotional perspective, even the spiritual perspective. So focusing on this and focusing of opening this channel and this very important relationship between the educator and the learner is very important. And that was the is the F of the first domain. And the I of the first domain is the the first framework. The I domain is the interacting. And interacting means the learner is not alone in this world, is not alone in the learner experience. Even if he is studying with himself, he is not alone. He can connect and should connect with others in the classroom, in the center he's having this experience, or in the virtual online experience, or even if he is studying alone, he can connect with others across the globe to interact around this learning experience or learner experience he is living in. So taking care of this in the design and the facilitation phases is very important. after looking for the focusing and opening the channel with every learner, taking care of designing the interaction between learners and each others, and learners and the facilitators, and and the whole learning experience components. The third is what we call it the active reviewing, or the reviewing domain. And reviewing is more of the reflections of the learning, because living experience by itself is not guaranteeing learning, but living in the experience and reflecting on this experience and reviewing actively what happened in this experience, and what are the lessons learned coming out of this experience, and what should be taken to the next experiences in my life. And this is very important. So we started thinking of the F as the channel, the focusing on the learner, then the interacting between learners and each others, and the full learning experience. Then R is the reviewing of the activity, since we are looking of the learning activity as the main component of the learning experience. Then S is the sequencing, because the activity and even the reviewing is very good for the activity, but activity is not alone in the learning experience. So taking care of the designing and facilitating of those activities to be in a good sequence together, in a good flow, what we call it a flow, in a good sequencing and transitioning between every activity and each other in the same day or across days, because learning is a whole journey. As we said, learning is a whole, for a whole human, it is also a whole journey for this whole human. So sequencing is taking care of this in the design, facilitating. And finally, T is the transforming. One of the very important aims of learning is not just to learn and equip myself with new knowledge and skills and attitude. This is very important, but how I will use this, how this will be reflecting in my life, how this will be reflecting in my performance, how this will be reflecting in my behaviors, how this will be reflecting in my future values and practices in my life. So taking care for the educators of such 5 domains, FIRST, focusing, interacting, reviewing, sequencing, and transforming, is very important. And we don't say very important because we like it, but because we have a lot of research, quantitative and qualitative, that find a lot of evidence about this in several countries and several entities across the globe. I want to stop here. If we want to have any questions from the moderator, Khalid, or from any of the participants, then I can continue after that. So quickly, I introduced, or Khalid introduced myself. Then I introduced quickly what is SeGa, and I'm still in the first framework, introducing our research view of the framework in SeGa.
Okay, thank you very much for your introduction on first framework. By looking into the first framework, what is why SeGa come up with this framework?
Okay, this is a very good question, actually, Khalid, because the main reason that we found that most of our educators, and when I say our, I'm not talking about only Muslim educators, I'm talking about even the whole world and the whole globe, because the framework is a scientific research based framework, and we introduced it in several conferences across the world, and a lot of people are using it. But the main need is educators think nowadays that their role is just to transfer knowledge, to transmit knowledge from themselves to the students or to the learners. And they, for several years, maybe decades, they are focusing on just knowledge and how to transfer this knowledge. But nowadays, we have a lot of technologies, a lot of tools, a lot of techniques, a lot of strategies that could be very effective in transferring knowledge, and maybe more accurate, maybe more fast, maybe more deeper in transferring knowledge. So the role now of the educator is not just to transfer knowledge. The role of educator is to return back to our original role of educators, our genuine, authentic role of what we call it education. But in Arabic, we call it tarbiyah. So there is no, one single word that gives the meaning of tarbiyah in English, but let's say education, but it's more deeper than the English understanding of the term education. It's about the whole human development, is developing the whole human. So thinking of this, taking care of the whole human person, this should be through living an experience. It's not just for sitting down and receiving some knowledge. But it's very good to be in an authentic, original, genuine way, but again, with a very modern, up-to-date techniques, up-to-date mindset, up-to-date tools, because this balance is very important. Some people thinking of having an educator role, authentic role, genuine role, but they don't use the modern techniques. And now the new generations are getting used of those different ways and styles of learning. And when people thinking of going to the modern technique, they think that going to the modern technique, we should lose our value-based, competency-based approach. So the balance, having the balance of this is very important. And that was the reason behind the framework.
Okay. So the educators is not only merely a person who impart knowledge, but also to coach and also to facilitate the education process. And I can see that that is that's why when we try to translate with the wording of tarbiyah into English, it's very hard to find the best and the suitable words to translate it. Okay, good. So maybe you would like to share with us what is your next sharing?
Okay. So quickly, when we thought of the research, it's very good to research, but we are not an academic entity or just research hub or research center. We are from the field and going to the field. So we want to think of the scientific research. The original understanding of research is to help the practice, is not just to sit inside a room and doing some research. So when thinking of this for doing some practical, we thought of having different initiatives. And the initiative is more than just a project. It's an initiative that has several projects and journeys inside. So since the establishment, we introduced a lot of initiatives. And one of the important initiatives I want to introduce today is the MEGA initiative. We call it the Modern Educator Global Academy Initiative. And this is a new initiative that started after the pandemic, after the Corona COVID-19 pandemic. And it was, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, yani it was a ni'mah and grant from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us thinking of how to use this pandemic as an opportunity more than just a threat. And thinking of this as an opportunity and build on that to connect and reach people across the world, educators across the world, mainly working in different schools and different education centers. So we started to design how to implement our first framework in online setup and to transfer it to educators in different parts of the world, mainly a lot of them working in Islamic countries or Islamic schools. So we started to think of building and designing this new approach. So what I want to introduce is actually what happened across this. Sorry, I'm not quite sure that the presentation is moving.
Yes, moving.
But yeah, okay. So so before going directly into the MEGA, it's very important when we are talking about the global view of Ummah, because again, when we say Ummah, it's a global representation and global impact. It was very important for the research to have recommendations from different scholars across the world. And we have Dr. Joseph Pine, who forwarded the book for SeGa, and Dr. Roy Pollock, as well as the guru of education in North America, Dr. Michael Follen, and how we interacted with him to introduce the framework and gain his feedback about that. So back to the MEGA initiative. MEGA is, as I said, it's a Modern Educator Global Academy. It's an initiative to connect and collect and reach different educators across the globe and help them to understand the new era of learning, new era of education. We call this a new era of education because, again, as you said, Khalid, it's transforming the mindset of educator from just the role of transmitting knowledge to the role of living and a full experience with the learner. So that was an aim to help all educators live this. And before just learning what is learner experience, what is active deep learner experience, and how to implement the first framework, it's very important for us and our belief that the educator should live the experience as a learner first, then he can transfer this methodology, this approach to his learning practices and his education practices and his teaching practices and so on. So we introduced the first journey, learning journey in MEGA. We call it the introductory journey. It is a 6 weeks online journey for educators to understand and live what is the first framework and what is the active deep learner experience. Then we will introduce the coming 2 months. After 2 months, we will introduce level 2, which is, we call it the practitioner journey or the foundational journey to certify people to be certified practitioners in different places in the world. I will quickly move this, and I will reach some initiatives, and I think you may want to stop me here and talk a bit about this global reach. So what happened in the previous 5 months, that we have educators participated from around 19 countries across the globe. People from Turkey, Yemen, Egypt, Palestine, Syria, US, UK, Kuwait, Bahrain, Tanzania, Algeria, and many. I think the flags are there in the slide. So again, thinking of the Ummah and the global impact and global reach, it was for us getting to seize the opportunity and to build on the opportunity of, we are all now connected online. We can easily connect to each other's. Previously, if I want to come to this conference or the summit, a lot of logistics, before to come and meet you in Malaysia. So a lot of logistics should be there. A lot of cost should be there. But the opportunity of having this connection and the opportunity of building on the spirit and the mindset of Ummah and the Ummah-centric, as you are promoting in this summit, we should build on the opportunity of being all connected online and the ease of interacting with each other. So what happened that we have now in the community of graduates, we started Mega 7, which is the group number 7 in Mega initiative. We started the Mega 7 yesterday. We have female educators, male educators. We started with Arabic and English version till now, and hoping soon will be in Malay, in Bahasa, in Swahili, in other languages. So if you want to ask me anything about the reach and the global reach, so the mic with you before continuing the discussing the initiative itself.
Yeah. By the way, we have one question coming from the Facebook from Mr. Said Ismail. What should we teach or do? What should we teach or do? What we should do to create a civilization, our own civilization, just like previous scholars. What is the missing in present education system? So that is the question that coming in from the Facebook.
Okay. If I understand the question well, it's a mashallah, a very deep question and very broad, abstract question at the same time. So, if I can answer this, the first thing is to develop the educator themselves and as being a good civilized Muslim, a good modern civilized Muslim, because what we believe in SeGa, that the educator is the first entry point to develop, if we want to develop the whole complete education system. So it's not about getting tools, while tools are very important. It's not about getting systems, while systems are very important. It's not about starting with other tools and techniques. It's very important to start with the educator and to develop those educators on the what and how to go with the education, the modern authentic education approach. And when we started thinking of SeGa as an entity, or Modern Educator Academy as an initiative, we are focusing ourselves on the how part only. So all our research and all our part is on the how to educate and how to teach and how to facilitate and how to coach, more than just what to teach and what to coach. And we found very interesting findings across some people, from the feedback from some journeys, even from the educators that attended with the journeys with us, when they go to design and facilitate their own learning journeys, some participants said, we want to continue with you, whatever the topic is, because we benefited from the way that you interact with us. We benefited from the way that you deal with us. We benefited from the way that we live this experience together. Mm-hmm. So what I'm trying to clarify for the question, as not to go far away from the question, is back. Number one is the education. Number one inside the education is the educator, because we believe that education is the foundation for any development for any country, and for our Ummah is very important foundational layer, the education. And our belief as well is to start the education development from developing the educators themselves. I'm not quite sure that I answered well the question, or I understand the question well, but if my brother Said want to add anything to the question, I'm here still. Yeah. Thanks, Khalid.
I think when you say about if you were to have to rebuild the civilization that the Ummah owned before, is we need to develop the educators. The educator, sometimes people say that in order for you to teach people, we need to have equipment, we need to have facilities. But there are situations where a great educator, a great teacher, they can even educate the kids, the student, the talent, the learners under a tree.
Yes.
So it doesn't mean that we need to have full facilities, we need to have air conditioner, we need to have a good PowerPoint or LED or LCD. But education is where we develop a great teacher, a great educator to deliver the knowledge and to become the place where the learners can learn each other. Right?
I want to build on your wordings. First, I want to make sure that we don't underestimate the facilities, the importance of the tools, the techniques. We are not saying it's not important, but just we are saying if we're focusing on the educator and put a focus and put investments of time and effort and science and research and even money for thinking for that, this will add a great value to those facilities and make a great impact, even if those facilities are not on the top notch of the facilities. So what myself and my brother Khalid is saying, that the first priority is the educator and the educator development, plus the other tools and techniques and systems and.
Exactly.
And I want to change one term that you used, Khalid, because I want to insist on this. It's not about delivering knowledge. I know that you mean the full experience, but I want to insist on the educator should focus on living a good experience, an impactful experience, a role model experience, if we can say this, with the learner. Or even if he is not in complete interface or touch with the student or the learner, he can help design and facilitate this learner experience for the learner to move across. So it's about a complete experience, including the knowledge, including the activities, including some skills, including what he is thinking of, what he is feeling about, what he is living fully as a human person in this experience. Yeah.
Okay. I think when you present about Mega, the new product of SeGa, Modern Educators Global Academy, and we found that um, the participant is from around the globe, and it is being carried out online. So how do we make the online education or the online classroom could be a deep and impactful learning experience?
Okay, the good answer for this is ask you and invite you to attend the Mega Initiative. But the quick answer is the quick answer of is to change the mindset, because when the pandemic happened, and I hope all our brothers and sisters will be inshallah safe, but when happened, what people thought of what we can call it a crisis education, not a distance learning or a remote learning or a virtual learning, as by science and by practice. They panicked and they start doing they start to just transferring what was happening inside the classroom on Zoom or online. And this is not the online education, and this is not the online learner experience. The first thing to think of is it's not distance learning. Yes, it's distance because we and the learner are not in the same place, but we want to make it a close relationship education, a closed relationship learning. If I'm thinking of having a close relationship, this will help me a lot to overcome a lot of obstacles and to close a lot of gaps of thinking that we are distant and we don't have this human relationship. So what we are promoting is what we call it humanizing the education machine, or humanizing the learning, or humanizing this online experience. So humanizing means start thinking that you are human as an educator and he is human as a learner, and how those two humans will interact with other humans as well in this learner experience. So this is very important, because just transforming this mindset of humanizing the experience will help a lot. Inventing, and I'm saying inventing, yes, and innovating ideas and tools and techniques, very simple, yet very impactful and effective. So just sending a WhatsApp message, such sending an SMS, asking about the student, this will add a lot of value. So again, I'm not against the tools and techniques and systems and applications and platforms, but I'm thinking and I want to promote of using it in a humanized way, using it in a approach of learner experience first, deep learner experience first. So to summarize my answer, Khalid, is about mindset of I want to have a good learner experience. I want to have an active deep learner experience. Then thinking of deep means starting from the deep relationship, the deep understanding, the deep emotional connection, because we can build a lot on this connection there. Of course, there are a lot of other strategies we can talk about, but this is the foundations here.
Yeah, understand. There is an additional question from Brother Said Ismail. The additional is apart from educator. What is still missing apart from educator? The education system, or what else? Because why we have a school? We have school. We have university. We have a lot of scholars. But why we are still cannot achieve the Muslim civilization, the Ummah civilization?
Okay. First, I would like to thank my brother Said, because I found him in all sessions, mashallah, sending questions and asking. And I'm afraid that this brother Said is one of your team, Khalid, because he's, mashallah, very, very active and in participation. So thanks a lot, my brother Said. And I don't want to move from the educator. I'm sorry to say this, because it's not a simple step that we can say, okay, if we finished the educator development, what else? It's a huge effort that all our entities, or our ministries, or our universities, or our schools, or our scholars, or our people, or our parents even should synergize, should interact, should network, thinking of how the best to develop the educator. So yeah, it's easily to think of other things and to just to answer the question, but I don't want to move out of the educator, because we have still a lot of efforts should be done to think of this. And what I want to promote is to think of in our circle of influence, just to think of what I can do as a person, because sometimes when we are thinking education, we are pointing to ministries, we are pointing to huge systems. No, point to yourself, return the arrow, point to yourself and think of what you as a person, as an educator, can do. If I'm having just an influence on my classroom, so start with this classroom. If I'm having an influence of 5, 6 kids or youth with me, think of how to develop yourself to develop those kids. And education is a long-term investment, and as well as it's a gradual building. It's not a one-shot investment or a one-shot action. So my promotion to answer this question to myself and my team and the whole people that who are listening or will listen to this Ummah Summit. So start from yourself as a person or as an educator, because I believe that every person is an educator. So every person, if you are a manager, you're an educator. If you are a parent, of course, you are an educator. If you're a teacher, you are an educator by profession and by mission. And if you are moving in the street, you can think of with an educator mindset. So developing this mindset that of an educator mindset is very important. I'm sorry, brother Syed, that I didn't answer your question directly, but I returned back to my original answer. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bahgat. You would like to continue?
I have a few slides, and we can return back to questions as well.
Sure.
Okay, so if we are thinking of the research and thinking of the Ummah and the Islamic education, we did a very good, and we will publish this very soon. We did a research study on complete semester in Azhar University in Egypt, with scholars from doing a PhD in different universities, University of Oxford and University of College London. What we found is take care of those two pictures. The first picture, this is the way in our heritage, in our history, that education was happening this way. There was an educator with a very good close connection with the learners, and that happened in mosques and could be happening now in Zoom online. I'm talking about the experience and about the connection. And this is the way that our education system is working right now. And we put this comparison between the classroom and the industry or the factories and the industrial view. And what we want to focus in this study, that we are all now in what we call it the fourth industrial revolution. And I think we can send you a video talking about this. We are what we call it the fourth industrial revolution, and the World Economic Forum introduced this term, the fourth industrial revolution. And while moving into this, they are talking about automation, they are talking about artificial intelligence, they are talking about the Internet of Things, they call it the Internet of Things, and many new technologies that robots, they think that robots will replace a lot of people in their work or in their jobs or in their roles. But the most important role that robots could not replace is the role of educator. Robot could replace the role of a teacher, just transmitting knowledge, but robot couldn't replace the role of a deep educator, thinking of how to deal with the learners and how to deal with the students and the relationship between the students and the learners and the facilitator and the organization as a whole education entity. So we want to enter the 21st century, or we entered already the 21st century, and we want to move in the fourth industrial revolution with a very important factor in mind, that we are educators. We want to return back to our main role of developing the whole human person, looking forward for the interaction and the connection, and with the modern techniques and modern tools, okay. And again, that's why I answered my brother Sayed twice, that our experience, our strategy is the experience and the pedagogy, the how we deal in the classroom, the how we deal in the learning experience is very important, and before the technology. Not before the technology means is we don't want to use technology. We should use technology, but we should use technology in a right way. So before means before in the priority, in the mindset, in the design, think of how to use the technology to help me doing a good experience, a good education experience, good pedagogy, and so on. Quickly, what we are moving forward in the coming few months, looking forward, what we call it mega impact cloud. And this is very close relationship to the name of the summit, the Ummah Summit. And because we found that people, if 14 or 15 indicators connect together during the journey, they want to continue the relationship to support each others. They want to continue the relationship to help and encourage and influence each other's moving forward. They want to face challenges and find solutions with each others, to support each others and to encourage each others to moving forward. So what we're thinking of now is designing a complete experience for those people in the cloud. And we started using the term cloud instead of just community, because it's really a global cloud, and it's moving across countries, and it's moving across schools, and it's moving across areas. So people are connecting together in this cloud and trying to move forward, progressing in their career and in their mission. Because what we believe in, and this is the last statement I want to end with, that education or educator is a mission, not a profession only. So even if I have a profession as a professional teacher or educator, but it's very important to think that educator is a mission, or education is a mission, not just a profession. Thank you. And I think I will stop here to continue some questions and to have some insights.
Yeah, we receive Brother Said said, thank you very much, Brother Muhammad. I only seek to enable us to create a better way to arm our children for the future and build our own civilization and not pass on onto the other civilization. And for your information, Brother Bahgat, Brother Said Ismail is uh, we know each other, and he is one of the manager at a school, an Islamic school, and
Yeah.
he really love to learn more and to connect each other. Inshallah, we will connect you
So,
together.
so quickly to respond to this, again, thanks, brother Said, for the connection. And I'm sorry because the context of a summit or a conference is just to talk about the idea, not about the tools and techniques inside the classroom, what to do. But what I would like to benefit from this opportunity of meeting you across the summit, so that you can send to us and connect with us, and we to check how can help your school and your community as well, as much as possible. So I'm waiting for your connection, inshallah.
Inshallah. And we are happy when we got to know that two of our teachers that we introduced to SeGa being accepted to join Mega, and it is very happy news for us. We hope that they benefit from the program, and also after that they will again to create more cloud in the country, inshallah. And
Inshallah.
we have more less than 10 minutes for us to finish, and we would like to have your advice, especially for those people who are working as educator. What is your advice? Is if we are teachers, if we are lecturers, if we are ourselves as a manager. So what is your advice to young educators?
Okay. It's a big amana to send an advice through the Ummah Summit for educators, but it's I'll try to think for myself first and for my team and for other educators across the globe. Number one is start from yourself. Don't think of developing others while you are missing how to develop yourself and how to upgrade yourself and how to um, connect with different sources and resources for developing yourself. And when I'm saying developing ourselves, I'm again thinking of the whole human perspective. So we want to develop ourselves, our knowledge, we want to develop our emotional view and understanding and paradigms and mindset, and the spiritual part as well, because if we're thinking of developing others without developing ourselves, we are missing big part. And I hope to always start thinking of developing ourselves and moving forward to develop others, because the human development, what is called the human development arena, is always thinking for the trainers to think of others only. And this is good and good intention, but again, it's a good intention but should have a good foundation, and the good foundation is to start thinking of developing ourselves. So this is number one advice. Number two is again to leave the summit brand, the summit name, to leave the Ummah concept, the Ummah centric approach. And what I mean again by Ummah centricity here is that I can benefit a lot for being a member of this Ummah. I can benefit if I am in a school educator in Malaysia. Now I can get support and help from other similar educators teaching the same topic for the same grade in other parts of the world. Because the competition concept hits this collaboration and synergy movement between entities and between individuals. Sometimes two schools beside each other in the same street and they want to compete and they are not thinking of to collaborate. So again, out of politics, out of business, out of the competition, as educator, I'm talking to educator, not as business leaders right now. So as an educator, think how to benefit from others in this Ummah and in the whole globe and the whole world. So thinking of to benefit and to find resources and to find again, as what we are trying to promote, as thinking of the cloud concept. I'm not talking about Mega now or SeGa. I'm talking about the concept that we are living in an open cloud. So think of how to benefit from this cloud. The third thing, and hope to be the last, is again from the Ummah understanding, is the global impact. The global impact. Again, I could be a teacher in one school in Malaysia, but I could add value and impact to other kids or other educators or other colleagues in USA, in Indonesia, in Turkey, in Middle East. So think of not only benefit from the globe and from the Ummah, think of how you are a member and you can add value and add an impact to this global network of educators and education and kids and learners across. And now again, with the online platforms and online tools, could be very easy. Just writing your case study, writing that what, as my brother Said was insisting, if a teacher inside a classroom did just one activity, just one game, and he found or she found it very good with the learners and kids, and just promote this by writing a case study, writing a blog about it, and really from inside want to add value to others, this will add value. But with the intention of having a global impact as much as possible. So think beyond the classroom, think beyond the school, think to the community. And the community now is not the community around the school, which is very good, important community around the school. But now the school is not there. The school, if the school is not there, think of the community as the global community. So to summarize my quick insights, number one, start from ourselves. So as an educator, start thinking as learner, not as an educator only. Number two, try to benefit from sources and resources across the globe. Number three, try to add value and impact the whole global impact and the whole global community beyond the small group of your kids and learners. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Brother Bahgat. When we start to approach SeGa to have to share your wisdom together with us, we feel that it is the most suitable person to talk about how to revive the education. And we believe that all our participant, our viewer, inshallah benefit from your sharing, from your wisdom that you share. And inshallah, hopefully we will have more opportunity to work together in the future, and we can bring Mr. Bahgat to share his wisdom again in the coming future, inshallah.